All right, guys, new intro here for the Bear Pack. We already crushed the 7K subscriber goal, so we are going to update that board here for you guys. Look at Joe Burrow, looking at all these nice, tasty giveaways. We have the 8K sub jersey giveaway. We have the 9K sub sports memorabilia giveaway, 10K subs, the big one, $1,000 giveaway, and the 12K subs. We're going to send a couple people to a game of their choice. Guys, we are very excited for the football season, but no more talking. Let's get right into this video, Trey. All right, guys, let's get into some NCAA football picks and props for Thursday, September 14th slate of games. Take a look at that leaderboard, Trey. Start us off.
Yeah, and we're enjoying a pretty good 2023 season so far, 16-10 overall, but I did give out a loser on Saturday because I gave out James Madison -6.5 versus Virginia. And this was a back-and-forth game, but they did not end up covering. They ended up winning this game by 1 point, but obviously that means they did not cover the -6.5. James Madison, they were easily the better team here. Virginia, they had 2 touchdowns that were at least 70-plus yards long and a fumble that was an obvious fumble that got called back, and then they scored on the next play. So Virginia got extremely lucky, and that means I did not get lucky.
Seth?
I took North Carolina to cover the spread at -4.5 in the first quarter of their game against Appalachian State. They did not do that, so we went 0-1. We need to get back on the board with a win here.
Yeah, and then I had Boise State plus 3.5 against UCF as my play last week. Boise State took the lead with about a minute left, and then UCF kicked a game-winning field goal, winning by 2. So the spread of 3.5 did cover there, so we got on the board there. But let's take a look at the only game on the board tomorrow for us. It is going to be a match between the Navy midshipmen going up against the Memphis Tigers. The Memphis Tigers are -14. The over-under is set at 46.5. Trey, who are you taking in this one?
And I honestly do think this game's going to be pretty fun to watch. We're getting 2 offenses that are absolute polar opposites in this game. And Navy, they're 0-2 ATS so far this season. In Memphis, they're 1-1 ATS. But I do think that Navy's going to get their first cover of this season. But I'm going to be buying a half point here. I'm going to take Navy plus 14.5. I don't like to push with the 2-touchdown loss there. So I'm going to buy a half point. Just give me a little bit of an extra cushion. Navy, they should honestly be able to run all over Memphis in this game. Navy, they average 46 rushing attempts per game, turning that to 185.5 rushing yards. They should easily rush for over 200-plus rushing yards in this game. And Memphis, yes, their defense has looked great here recently, but their 2 games have been against very subpar competition. And their 2 games have been against Bethune-Cookman and Arkansas State, 2 teams that have no business playing in the FBS against Memphis. But Navy, they should be able to open up this game and cover pretty easily for us. So give me Navy plus 14.5 against Memphis.
I like it, Trey. Seth?
Yeah, and I was scrolling through this, and I think I'm going to go a couple of different ways on this one. I'm going to take the under 47.5, and I'm going to take Memphis -7.5 in the first half. Both of Navy's games this season have hit the under, and Memphis is 1-1 on the under as well. Memphis put up big points in week 1, then regressed a little in week 2. The Navy offense is very run heavy, and they don't put up a ton of points. They instead try to control the clock. I like the under big time in this game, especially with the new rules and the fact that over their first 2 games, Navy has ran the ball 90 times in comparison to 25 pass attempts. Memphis has been very good against the run in their first 2 games, but like Trey said, they were against weaker competition, so it's really hard to get a gauge on if they will be able to stop this or not. So there's a good chance Navy will be able to control the clock in this one. And then on to Memphis. We all know how Memphis is going to want to attack this Navy team. As Trey said, they're polar opposites. They're going to attack them through the air. We saw how Notre Dame was able to go after this Navy defense in week 1, where they had 4 different receivers go over 30 yards receiving. Memphis is even more pass heavy than Notre Dame. This Tigers had 7 different players go between 24 and 52 yards in the receiving department. And in their first game, they had 5 different players go for at least 35. I look for Memphis to stick to what they know best in this game and air the ball out against a Navy defense that just doesn't have the unit to cover everyone in the passing game. I do like Memphis to put up some points in this game, but with how slow this Navy offense works, I do love the under in this game as well.
Yeah, so you're going with the under and Memphis in the first quarter. Is that what I heard?
First half.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind those plays. I'm gonna take Navy here plus 14.5, and I'm also going to take them plus 7.5 alt spread for the game. Memphis has 2 cupcake matchups so far, and they have not been tested this season. Navy played Notre Dame in week 1, and they got pounded, but this is going to help them in this game. Navy last week also showed the world that they can pass the ball, going for 146 yards in the air against Wagner and also 250 yards on the ground against them like we're used to. Memphis defense lost a lot of starters, and I think Navy will be able to score against this Memphis Tigers defense. The Tigers have also not been tested on the offensive side of the ball, and while they do have a decent offense, the Navy defense looked great last week against Wagner, and they should be able to hold their own against this Memphis Tigers team. Navy will be run heavy in this game, but they can open the game up a little bit with the passing game, keeping Memphis on their toes. I expect them to have at least one big pass in this game. This game's going to be a lot closer than people think. I was very close to putting Navy money line, but I'm not going to do it. Give me them plus 7.5 and plus 14.5 here. Guys, let's go over to the player props. Trey, start us off.
Yeah, and we're doing pretty good on the player props as well. 17-6 year to date. Shout out us. But I gave out Jeff Sims over 65.5 rushing yards against Colorado on Saturday. And he finished this game with 67 rushing yards, barely hitting the over. Shout out Jeff Sims. It was a little bit sweaty, but he had a massive 57-yard run to cash this bet for us. So shout out Jeff Sims.
Also, Jeff Sims, could you hold on to the ball? That'd be much appreciated. Seth, what was your play?
I was the only loser on the board. I don't know what's happened to Drake May. He's kind of disappeared to start the season. I guess the Heisman hype was too much for him to live up to. I had him over 2.5 rushing plus receiving plus passing touchdowns, and he did not have any. So, like I said, I don't know what happened to him, but we went 0-1.
Yeah, and then I had Jordan Whittington over 34.5 yards against Bam, the wide receiver. He had 44 in the game. He got lost a couple times in the Bama secondary, so we did catch that one. We're moving on to tomorrow. Trey, starts off with our plays.
Yeah, and I'm going to start us off here with the fantasy points. I'm going to be attacking one of Memphis's wide receivers here, and I'm going to be going with Roc Taylor over 10 fantasy score, and I really love this over here because I do feel like Roc can pile up the yardage in this game, and if he catches a touchdown, this bet is all but cashed as well. And Taylor, he has not had to play much this season because Memphis, they've won both of their games by an average of 38 points, so he has not had to play the full game yet in either of his two games, but I think this game should be pretty close. So Roc, he's going to have to be playing the full game here. And through two games, he's averaging 4.5 catches for 45 yards. That's an average of 9 fantasy points per game. And with him not even playing the full game, averaging 9, barely under this number, I expect him to easily surpass this 10 fantasy score in this game. So give me Roc Taylor to dominate Navy secondary and to go over 10 fantasy score versus Navy.
Yeah, Trey, I like it, Seth.
Yeah, and I'm going to be going to the quarterback that will be throwing the ball to Roc Taylor, and I'm going to take Seth Henigan. Really good first name, by the way. I'm going to take Seth Henigan to go over 255.5 passing yards in this game. As I mentioned in the game pick, this Navy defense lacks the personnel to fully cover this Memphis passing attack. Henigan has thrown the ball 65 times over his first two games, and I look for that to increase even more in this game. Notre Dame found success throwing the ball, and Memphis should do the exact same. Henigan went for 334 passing yards in week 1 and then went down to 239 in week 2. If Henigan were to throw the ball 30 times in this game, he would need to average 8.51 yards per pass, which is completely doable for him. He is already averaging 8.8 yards per pass this season and has a career average of 8.3 yards per pass. Like Trey said, there should be some success in the pass game for Memphis in this one, so give me Henigan in a pass-heavy offense to go over 255.5 passing yards.
Yeah, Seth, I like that play as well. And we are going to be Memphis heavy. For my player props, going to be Blake Watson for the Memphis Tigers, go over 109.5 rushing and receiving yards. There's not any Navy props out, so we couldn't give any Navy ones. But if the Memphis Tigers were to run away with this game, it will be on the shoulders of Blake Watson. This is their best player on offense, having 30 carries in the last two games and having 9 catches out of the backfield. The first game was a warm-up game, and so was the second game, really. But he was used a lot more against Arkansas State, getting 20 carries in that game. Most of those carries came in the first 3 quarters as well. And they were using him at about a 35% clip last week in total touches. The Memphis offense last week completed 21 passes. 4 of those went to Watson, and then they ran the ball 41 times, and 20 of those went to Blake Watson. They used him a ton, so I expect that usage to continue in this game as they try to break down this Navy midshipman defense. Give me Blake Watson to go over 108.5 rushing and receiving yards in this game. Guys, it's going to do it for our NCAA football plays for Thursday, September 14th slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel below. We'll see you guys next video, and thanks for watching. Just want to let everyone know that while we do give out free picks, plays, and predictions on our YouTube channel, we also have a website for you to check out. On our website, bearsprofitplays.com, you can subscribe to the website absolutely free with an email and gain access to our written articles about upcoming sporting events. If you're really looking to make some cash, we have an option to become a member of our website. If you become a member, you will gain access to our Locks of the Week, which are written articles that go in depth as to why we are picking that particular outcome. As of now, our member plays have been red hot, hitting over 60% of our plays. If you don't want to become a member, it's no sweat. We are here to try and make you guys some money. That's our main goal. So come on over to bearsprofitplays.com and subscribe for free. check us out, follow our free picks, and see for yourself that our member plays are a great investment for you. Thanks for watching.